Hey guys,
Hi.
it's your buddy Isaac and friends. We got Trey, we got me. We're gonna watch G1, Project
After
G1.
after about a year of people asking you to,
Yeah.
hope you like Jamie. I have special Bluetooth earbuds in. That's why I can hear.
Loyalty, honor, respect. When you lose even one of those,
Okay.
you
Wait, did you
take
check the
something
mixing?
away from those around you.
What?
Did you check the mixing?
The ones you love, your friends.
It should be good. Yeah.
Desktop audio maximum.
It's not at max.
Okay. Oh god.
We let down those closest to us without ever realising we'd done so.
Uh-oh.
The people that didn't leave work at night. They worked the railways for the love of railways. They weren't silenced. They weren't subdued. They just didn't have anything to object to. By the time they realised there was a problem, it was too late. We didn't stifle them. We didn't lock them away. We didn't lie to them. We committed the worst sin of all. We just didn't listen.
Oh my god, Thomas.
You think?
You didn't sound
On the 6th of October 2015, the world was reintroduced to the horrors and suffering that began on a small island off the northwest coast of England.
I don't think the documentary showed anything we didn't already know. People had just become desensitized to what had happened to Thomas and his friends. The reaction, or rather, overreaction, began straight away.
Quickly grew to become
This
I feel slightly attacked.
This came out after we watched the first one, so it's not directed at us.
young man in the USA had become so traumatized by Shed 17, he had memorized all the
I like
dialogue
how he has
and
more
would do
dislikes
nothing but
than
watch the
likes.
program in a loop, mouthing the words.
The town was buzzing with news of her pregnancy.
He would later be taken away to a psychiatric unit. Many viewers would be offered similar treatment, often being asked to illustrate what scared them and confronting it as a successful
I'm guessing
therapy.
this was some kind of art.
This young man began
Project.
making his own model railway
That's the actual
stories
guy who
as a
wrote
form
this.
of treatment. Soon many of these people would be allowed limited access to the outside world, even beginning to form social connections to people and in some cases form friendships.
After the Thomas incident became public, the tourist trade began to dry up. People stopped coming to Sodor for biofusion operations, and so there were massive layoffs on the railway itself.
Right?
Numerous attempts were made to salvage the tourist trade on Sodor. Finally, in a last-ditch attempt, the railway was promoted with an ill-judged celebrity endorsement.
I wonder what celebrity.
Of the train.
Huh? I don't
Oh
think-
my
Just the
God.
young people
Wait, you know who that is?
Yes.
That's the British guy.
Yes. I know who that is.
I-
Weirdly enough, from watching the John Oliver's Last Week Tonight show.
Funny guy. Terrible Zazu.
people suffering. Many would suffer trauma in their own way, both human and biofused. With the documentary came the public outcry, and the media's need for a scapegoat.
Ah,
The Goetze family were in hiding. The fat had vanished with all his money, and there I was, in full public view, being blamed for
I'm
the
sorry.
whole thing.
Do you want to apologise? Because frankly, you should know better than that.
Bloody hell. I was finally given the chance to tell my side of the story on national television, tell people what actually happened, and acquit myself in the eyes of the public.
Mr. Hartley, are you to blame for the events on Sodor Island?
Well, let me tell you, I am not.
I am totally to blame for what happened to Thomas and all his friends, and I'd do it again tomorrow.
Last time I go
Wow.
on Channel 4.
But the public
really
outcry
specific.
would bring an anonymous whistleblower out into the light. Someone who would reveal more facts about the events on Sodor Island, both before and after the Thomas incident.
I worked closely on the television series in the early 80s,
Isaac, that's
so I was
Ringo
around
Starr.
the engines at all times.
What?
It's all
That was Ringo Starr. Ringo Starr was the voice of Mr. Conductor in Thomas and Friends. It was George Carlin when it was brought over to the U.S. as part of Shining Time Station.
Ah.
only now, after I can't make a difference to those engines' lives, that I've heroically decided to speak.
As
fact
the
he's-
government finally relented
Drummond
and
should
shut
have
down the
taken
whole biofusion operation on Sodor, a tragic dilemma faced the scientists.
Some people
Okay.
were still in the biofusion process. Being in process is the last place anyone wants to be. They had to complete their procedures quickly, or they'd be left to die.
That meant turning them into the simplest form of life that existed.
Drugs, particularly the faceless ones, rarely had the brain capacity to retain long-term memory.
They have eyes.
They were the lucky ones.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a worse hell than being a truck. Fortunately, most of them didn't live long.
Oh my god!
Oh God. Ugh. Ugh. Why?
Biological organs
That's an
exposure to the
infection
open
waiting to
world meant an
You
increased
think?
risk of infection and slow, painful death.
Ugh.
Fearing being shut away forever,
Why?
some trains would seek opportunity elsewhere. Chris Duck Dixon and Oliver Surname's dream was to work on the
Oliver
famous
Surname.
Sodor Railway.
They were childhood friends who shared the same love of trains. They'd made a
Hey, buddy.
pact to become engines. Sadly, it came too late.
The ban on biofusion came into effect just after Oliver and Duck were looking forward to working on the railway.
When it looked as though they
Yeah.
would be locked away forever, the Japan Railway Group offered them work on their railway.
Oh no.
Duck and Oliver jumped at the chance. The travel was paid for by the Japanese railway, and they couldn't wait to be there.
Unfortunately,
Why do I feel
arriving
like
in
this is gonna go
Tokyo,
bad?
Duck and Oliver would find that, under Japanese law, they weren't recognised as human beings, and so had no rights at all. They would soon learn their true fate.
Steam Engine System Company Limited.
What?
They,
Oh,
along with
no.
other engines unfortunate
That's what they
enough
say.
to fall into this trap, were to take part in a sick pay-per-view event.
Destroyed my childhood.
Two years apart, these two fighters, and they both possess a similar height and reach.
What?
Why you pause on that?
What? I was expecting them to be working like non-stop or something like they did in the last video. Not
That was Isaac. That
No.
was, Isaac, that was China.
train fights. The heck? How does this even work?
I guess we'll find out.
What? What? Huh?
Fitted with pneumatic joints, stabilizers and supports, they were ready for the main event.
Was that Wolverine?
Yes, I guess so.
Both men landing in that exchange.
What the fuck?
Pause it, wait. I think I know why Wolverine is there. A long time ago, there was a movie made called Real Steel, and Hugh Jackman was in that movie. I haven't seen the whole thing. I think that's actual audio from the movie.
Oh my god.
It's like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, the movie.
I think I know what you're talking about too.
Oh, ow.
Ow.
They both knew this was a battle to the death, so they had to put their friendship aside. There was only one way to survive.
Oh.
Ooh.
Let's turn the face into Jello.
Yeah. Oh. Oh.
Oh my god.
Other engines would welcome opportunities offered by the British government.
I bet.
The British government had banned the use of biofusion publicly, but couldn't ignore the military opportunities. Selling war to the world was too profitable.
Hit Logistics was the military contractor secretly tasked with continuing the work Sodor research had begun.
The first task was finding as many engines as possible.
Biofused material had become rare, and Hit Logistics immediately recruited people to hunt down as many decommissioned engines as possible.
One was an old colleague we all called Friend. Even when he was being interviewed for the Shed 17 documentary, he was neck deep in secret government research. His biggest dream was much more sinister.
Project G1 was Professor Owen Ruth's dream, the breaking down of biofused matter to their very cells, and then deprogramming them.
Engine remains being reused to form anything they wanted.
Ein die Projekt. These cells have their DNA instructions removed. Biofuel stem cells, which can then adapt and assume any form necessary. It is for this purpose we have begun making extensive research into twins.
Annie Clarabella and Kevin Diesel had met as rail enthusiasts, fallen in love, and gotten married within weeks of meeting. The next step in their eyes was to become biofused.
It was the most romantic thing in their eyes. He would become an engine, she a coach, and they would ride the rails together. Kevin became his namesake, a sleek black diesel engine.
It was Annie's operation where things didn't go to plan.
As Annie's cells were being reprogrammed, they split in the early stages of the operation, and 2 coaches were created, although these twins were far from identical.
Oof.
People started to notice just how many twins were being created on the island, but the questions were brushed off or ignored.
In an effort to deflect criticism, Annie and Clarabelle, the first 2 biofused coaches, were put into service straight away.
Everyone was very excited.
Wait,
No.
wait. Is that meat chairs?
It looks like bacon.
It looks like steak. Why?
No one seemed to
That
ask
cannot
about
be
where all the
comfortable.
organic parts were in a coach. Or about those luxurious, expensive pink leather furnishings. I don't even want to tell you what they found in the toilets.
Following this disaster, Annie and Clarabelle would be kept out of the public gaze. One would stay with her husband, the other sent away to hit logistics. Diesel was forced to make a heartbreaking choice: which of these ladies to spend the rest of his life with.
It must have taken him all of 2 seconds.
For Annie, a lifetime with her husband, hidden away from the public gaze. For Clarabelle, the safety and care of hit logistics.
The safety and care.
Hit Logistics weren't just interested in how twins were created. It was the abilities they had because of it.
The telepathic links between twin engines was found to be incredibly powerful.
The psychic links found in natural twins is profoundly more powerful in biofused vehicles. Of course, essentially, these are the same person.
Hit Logistics would use what they had learnt to work on duplication. A volunteer soldier could be biofused exponentially, creating copies of those cells.
Think of it, a willing human participant, not just controlling a weapon, but becoming the weapon. Able to react to danger and orders in a fraction of the time.
To maintain the secrecy of these illegal experiments, the soldiers' faces would be covered up, so that the only giveaway was a cry of discomfort when a vehicle was damaged or a tank shell was fired.
Why would it hurt?
But Professor Ruth wanted to take these experiments
Still
further,
explosions.
to duplicate his deprogrammed
But still.
cells, to assimilate any biofused matter it made contact with, to assume any form of any size.
Think of the possibilities. A weapon dropped into a city that can take any form it wishes and adapt any organic material it finds. Whole communities of people
Oh, the blob.
removed and left empty for occupation. Stage 1 is the secure storage of biofused genetic matter in stasis. Stage 2 will involve the release of this material, in secure conditions, of course. To release this material in an uncontrolled state would be disastrous.
There was nothing they wouldn't try in that place, even
I smell
experimenting
bullshit.
with
Yes.
mirrors.
As well as mirror testing, work on twins would become more extreme, to test just how far the telekinetic link in biofused matter would go. For one set of twins, the link would go too far.
What?
Whilst unseen horrors were administered on Donald, the doctors and specialists at Hit Logistics could observe in full detail the torture as an unbreakable bond with his twin would tear Douglas apart.
Oh God! Ooh.
Hit Logistics would
Worth the pressure.
Right? Ugh.
also be seen as a welcome refuge
Ugh.
from another threat on Sodor.
Plays horror
Steamies,
games,
we
can't
called
handle
them.
train
They started out as rail enthusiasts, train spotters. They loved engines.
Oh my
where
God!
was
Is
the
this
harm
gonna
in
be a
that?
cult of Thomas the
But when
Tank
living
Engine?
engines were introduced on Sodor, they couldn't get here fast enough.
Most were seen as enthusiastic volunteers on the railway, some getting permanent jobs.
Now the Steamies' obsession with engines had a new, darker place to vent their frustrations.
James was a favourite engine. Sometimes every night for weeks, they'd gather at the turntable and play Spin the Engine.
Oh God! Why?
This security footage, hidden by Sodor Research until now, shows Gordon desperately pretending he couldn't fit on the turntable. But James was always the favourite, even to the television writers.
James's driver and fireman were feeling him all over.
But I had nothing to do with any of that business.
Are they implying people
Why?
are having sex with the living trains?
Uh,
What?
what the
Not after the first
fuck?
time.
With the closure
Wait,
of the railways,
did you hear
the
what he
engines
said?
were hidden away,
What?
and the
I didn't do
Steamies
one-
would
nothing
go
to do with those
underground
Steamies. Not after
and
the
bide
first
their
time.
time.
Yeah.
And it would be 30 years and a new documentary before anyone cared. Before anyone asked, why did this happen? Where were the engines? And what can we do about any of it?
With protests aimed at the government and Hit Logistics, the destruction of the evidence was speeded up.
Oh no.
Unnecessary engines would be incinerated quickly and brutally.
As easy as signing a form, ticking a box, or waving a flag, the engines we knew and loved were murdered in the most efficient way possible.
Oh.
But it would be the most
Why?
insignificant death of all that would have the most devastating effect.
This is
Not
hurting
any
my
transport
soul. I
at
used
Hit
to love this
Logistics,
show.
but the one nobody
I used to
witnessed,
love Thomas the
except
Tank
for
Engine.
one.
Why?
Well, to be fair, someone to make something like this is someone who clearly has a lot of love for Thomas.
They'd spent 30 years together, just looking into each other's eyes, forgotten by us all, and as happy as any of us could ever hope to be.
Isaac, pause for a second. You lasted longer than I tried to show my mom. Shed 17, and within seconds, what are they doing to Thomas? Get this out of here! It's like,
As Clarabelle was disposed of, no one but Diesel knew what happened to her twin nearly 20 miles away.
Annie, my love, what's wrong? What's the matter?
what's happening?
Annie, please, stay with me. I can't go. I can't go. Stay with me. Stay with me. No.
Ugh. surprised this thing is still up on YouTube.
It's great, Isaac.
That doesn't matter with YouTube.
But it wasn't over for Diesel. He had to get out. As terrible as seeing his wife perish was, the worst was yet to come.
I was fine until I started hearing the noise.
This is all your fault. You'll never laugh at me again. The rights of biofused engines will be ignored no more. The secrets of Sodor will be revealed. The state-sponsored torture of engines must be stopped.
Diesel would form the Sodor Liberation Front.
Nope.
His dream was to make Sodor Island a home for engines and other transport, free from the tyranny of human beings.
And we will not stop until the island of Sodor is recognized as a refuge for all engines.
Meanwhile, the remains of the engines would be disposed of.
The remains at Hit Logistics would be moved off-site to a quarry in the Blue Mountains of Sodor. 6,000 pounds of desiccated biofused matter. Its location, the real mystery. And tending to this top-secret site was the only engine in the UK still being illegally operated.
Oh, we can get him to do pretty much anything we want to. You know, a bit of the black stuff.
This undercover footage reveals how Ferdinand was being forced to work, controlled by his addiction to Welsh coal.
Come on.
That's right.
Yeah, you're gonna work for it, are you? Do you want some of this? We used Welsh coal to get the weaker engines started up, to give some engines a kick when they were struggling to get up in the morning. We never realised all the effects it was having on some engines.
Here they come, man. No?
Now, what are you looking at me for? Oh, let's all look at funny engine. Is that right? Let's all look at the funny engine. You don't look at the funny engine.
Welsh coal acted as a narcotic on the engines. Prolonged use would lead to addiction and dependency.
Apparently, yeah.
Oh my god!
As Welsh coal addiction became a bigger and bigger problem, dependency increased on the set of the television series.
No, you'll never win first prize, Percy moaned.
Don't worry, Percy.
Thomas puffed.
All I need is a good washdown.
One morning, Gordon was in the yard taking on a large supply of coal. That's the third load of coal you've had today, Gordon. Some might say you're being rather greedy.
Increasingly, engines would cause what appeared to be accidents, but in fact were attempts to get exposed to Welsh coal. But prolonged use would result in permanent brain damage.
Dealers on the set, violence among the actors. We knew there were a problem when Gordon started talking to the voice in his head, telling him to do things, bad things.
Yes, said Gordon, I will.
Oh no! Why?
Hit Logistics would later take Welsh coal research to its natural conclusion. High-speed steam engines would be pushed to their limit on high doses of the coal.
Oh, God.
As pressure from the media
Why?
increased, and fearing more bad press, Project G1 was put on hold, its future uncertain. Stage 1 stored away in what Professor Ruth called a controlled environment.
He dug his own grave, appearing in that documentary, as well as working at Hit Logistics. But he didn't see anything wrong in that. And so, just like everyone else, he blamed me for everything, even Smudger.
Smudger's story had been a children's favourite around the world.
Smudger worked on the Mid-Sodor Railway. The mine the engines worked on didn't make much, but it was enough to keep them going. Smudger was moved there because of his faults. His wheel alignment was off, meaning he'd come off the rails too often.
Unfortunately, the cash-strapped mine company couldn't afford the repairs. Their solution would be barbaric.
What?
They dismembered him, taking away his wheels and opening him up. The butchers turned him into a steam generator.
Shut off from all sensation, Smudger powered the mine for many years. Alone with his thoughts, he would slowly lose his mind.
When business dried up, do you think they come back for Smudger?
Nope.
Did they, hell? He were left there for years. Everyone had forgotten him. In a way, it would have been better for Smudger if he'd been forgotten forever.
Sadly, for Smudger, salvation would arrive, but in the form of Hit Logistics.
Professor Ruth was still eager to find as much biofused material as he could, but Smudger had changed over time.
Smudger had remained in the same place for nearly 30 years. His organic parts were no longer just part of a steam engine. They had become shed.
Smudger and the shed were one and the same. They couldn't be removed.
Hey, no, please, wait, no, please, no, oh God, no, please,
Oh.
wait, no, please, no, God, no,
Oh,
this would be the
wow.
final act of Hit Logistics, closing down all their research and destroying evidence. Soon, there would be nothing left to even prove their existence.
That was what they hoped. They didn't count on one final desperate act. Cranky had been driven mad by all the things he'd seen working for the government. But the worst thing was having to keep it quiet for all those years.
Unfortunately, Cranky's genetic structure meant he couldn't turn around fully, not without breaking the entire circulatory system to his head. Effectively, he was condemning himself to a painful death.
I believe Cranky knew the consequences, and he knew it had to be done.
But his wouldn't be the only sacrifice that day.
I don't believe he was evil, or that he wanted to kill anyone. He just wanted to show the world what the government was trying to cover up. He didn't know what was in there, or the damage he'd do.
Diesel had veered into the now secured stasis container of Project G Stage 1. Opening it up and allowing the deprogrammed biofused matter to assimilate any matter it wished, and to take on any form it wished.
What form did it take, though? Okay.
Lads, I looked at the mirror. I looked at the mirror, lads. Lads.
Any biofused engines in there didn't stand a chance. They were dragged into the canister. And then we all got to see it in its natural state.
Wow, giant tentacle train monster.
As the reality of the situation sunk in, government forces were deployed. This would be the only line of defence. But Project G1 was more than capable of defending itself and would take whatever action was necessary.
Take cover! Percy thrower!
Gordon's alive.
It could now not be stopped. As it forged ahead, it became clear where its goal was. More biofused cells.
Gordon's alive. That's actually from Flash. The Flash movie, the one that had the Queen soundtrack.
Flash Gordon.
Yes. In fact, they used that same line as part of the song.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. For some reason, I thought Gordon. Maybe all the sci-fi made me think. I like
more life, more engines. It had to assimilate cells to grow, to live, to spread. Blue Mountain Quarry. The site of thousands of tons of dead, desiccated biofused matter, hidden from the outside world. A rich source of matter which would make Project G1 indestructible.
It were drawn here
Just a
to
little
be
bit.
with its own kind, the last vestiges of Sodor's engines. It was trying to find peace.
Realizing Project G1's destination and intent, the military provided it with what it was looking for.
What?
The last engine whose fate everyone had asked about for years.
Thomas?
Remember, he went through like 100 surgeries.
After 28 operations to try and reconstruct him as a human being, he had remained behind closed doors, unwilling, until now, to show the world the monster he had become.
That wasn't the Tomas I knew. That wasn't an engine or a human. It were a creature mutilated
He's
by
standing right in front
surgeons
of
and
it, yes.
engineers alike.
Unable to react to the outside world at this stage, Thomas was the last chance the military had to stop Project G1.
There's no way this is going to end nicely. Poor thing.
Finally, the nightmare were over. Thomas had found the remains of his friends. His friends had found him. Sodor Island's favourite sons would finally be at peace.
And of course, the government ruins it all. Or in this case, the military ruins it all.
The mystery of the Blue Mountain had been solved.
Yep.
6,000 tons of desiccated, dehumanized biofused matter hidden in full view. And now used as a weapon.
Right? Yeah, somehow I knew this was not going to end on no happy note. Yeah, that's what I was seeing, if it was credits or not, or what's going on. I don't know. Maybe.
This was the military's plan all along. There was never any
narrative.
intention to allow them some kind of peace.
Plus, I don't think.
And with that, Thomas
and
lost
plus
his
I
only
think
link to the
original
past.
People that either
Now
have
all
it
that's
no
left
longer
is his reanimated
know, or if
pneumatic
they
body.
do, it's completely different.
A
I don't
confused
remember.
mind that lost everything. With his past the only thing left to torment him, Thomas decided to leave. He'd seen everything. The last people he trusted had abandoned him, but I was still here to tell his story. After all the betrayal, disloyalty and torment, I could still say I were his only friend. The only person who hadn't abandoned him. I could hold my head up high and say I was
right. 2021, Sodor Island was officially recognized as a biofused only compound.
In 2023, referendum was called. was called on the island to decide whether Sodor would secede from the United Kingdom and become its own country.
So Dexit.
Mm-hmm.
Sodor votes leave.
Well, almost 98%. The engines of Sodor Island voted to leave the UK.
So it is a Brexit joke.
Yeah.
By 2040, all diplomatic ties between Sodorland and the United Kingdom were cut off. Since then, no human has set foot on Sodor, no biofused engine has made contact with the outside world.
Keith? 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 Can you hear me, Keith? Can you hear me, Keith? Stay with me now. Stay with me now. Okay, we have to shock him. Clear?
That will not be necessary.
Who are you? Who is this man? What's he doing here?
This man is in our care.
You've no right to be here.
Relax, Mr. Hartley. You are in our capable hands now.
What? No! No! Oh God, what are they doing to Mr. Hartley? What are they trying to biofuse him into?
Well, Mr. Hartley.
Fat bastard!
Fat
You've
bastard
been
indeed.
quite the thorn in our side. The wrench in our works. The leaves on our rails. Never want to shy away from the media, were you, Mr. Hartley? Always another revelation about your faithful employer. Never a care for the trouble you caused, the innovations you've hampered, initiatives you've stalled, the jobs you've lost, the challenges to this island's human supremacy. Well, we've got a very special place for you here. Somewhere you can't open your big mouth or interfere anymore. And don't worry, Mr. Hartley. You're among friends here. This
They
is
turned
where
him into a
everyone ends up
freaking truck,
once
didn't
they've
they?
become troublesome.
There's still like 5 more minutes.
Apparently not.
They said at the end of the part he'd be like 100 years old.
Apparently, somehow survived.
Ooh. I think there's. Check the credits. There might be something after the credits. Oh, wait. Oh, there we go.
Ages. It'll be fine. What are you worrying about? I mean, what could happen? No! Ah! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Yeah. Yeah, that would be Diesel 10, I think. So, by the way, this was made by Pauls Vids. Why?
He wanted to tell more stories, I guess.
I mean, it's an interesting video, that's for sure. Anyway, I hope you guys liked the video. Please leave a like and subscribe and comment down below. And thanks for watching once again.
Give us more stuff to recommend. And we'll recommend more stuff.